dear students. My name is Divya, lecturer in biology, Shakthi PU College, Mangalore. In this particular session, I will be continuing a topic that is living world. In the previous video, I had started with the chapter living world, in which I had covered half of the chapter's contents. In today's session, I will be continuing the remaining half of the chapter. In this session also, I will be covering the important questions and important topics which are very important for the examination. So let me begin. The topic is taxonomic hierarchy. You have to know what is the meaning of taxonomic hierarchy. Now, first of all, let us recall what is the meaning of taxonomy. Taxonomy is the study of identification, naming and classifying organisms. Let us go one step ahead. Taxonomic hierarchy. In this particular system of classification, we are grouping organisms into different categories, into different groups. So, sequential arrangement of categories in a particular order is known as taxonomic hierarchy. So, on the screen, you can see the image of a scientist. This is none other than Carolus Linnaeus. Carolus Linnaeus is getting the credit of discovering or telling us about a concept known as binomial nomenclature. That is, a particular organism or a plant will be given a scientific name having two components. This I had discussed in the previous session. Now, Carolus Linnaeus is also the scientist who has told us about taxonomy. He is considered as father of taxonomy. Now, on the screen, what you can see is taxonomic hierarchy has been represented. So, as you can see, the lowest level is the species. Next comes the genus, family, order, class, phylum and kingdom. So what we are doing is we are arranging different categories in a particular sequence, and the same thing has to be followed when we are representing a taxonomic hierarchy. This you need to remember. This can be asked for the examination for 2 marks. Represent a taxonomic hierarchy. Now, according to your NCERT syllabus, you have to know the taxonomic hierarchy of 4 different examples. The first one has been given on the screen, that is taxonomic hierarchy of man or humans. So when we are representing a taxonomic hierarchy, we have to represent the lowest level. As you can see on the screen, it is species. The species to which man belongs is sapiens. Genus is Homo. The family to which we belong is Hominidae. Order is Primata. Class is Mammalia. Phylum, Chordata and kingdom is Animalia. So this you need to practice. It's very important for the examination. You can expect this as a 3-mark question. Represent the taxonomic hierarchy of man. Next example is you have to know taxonomic hierarchy of mango. The scientific name of mango, I am sure you know, it is Mangifera indica. When you are representing the scientific name, first of all, we have to represent the species. In this particular image, the binomial name has been given, that is scientific name of mango, Mangifera indica. Species is indica, genus is Mangifera, family is Anacardiaceae, order is Sapindae, class is Dicotyledonnae, it is a dicot, division Angiospermae, that is, it is a flowering plant, and kingdom is Plantae. All plants belong to kingdom Plantae. Next example given according to your syllabus is write the taxonomic hierarchy of housefly. Housefly is an insect, isn't it, students? Species is Domestica. Genus is Musca. Family to which the housefly belongs is Mucidae. Order is Diptera. Class is Insecta. Phylum Arthropoda, that is the ones which have jointed appendages. Kingdom is kingdom Animalia. All animals belong to kingdom Animalia. So this is also an important question which you can expect. Write the taxonomic hierarchy of housefly. The previous one which I told, taxonomic hierarchy of mango, is also equally important. One more example, what you need to know is taxonomic hierarchy of wheat. Let us see. Aestivum is representing the species name, Triticum is the genus, Poaceae is the family to which it belongs, Poales is the order, Monocotyledonnae is the class, Angiospermae is the division. When we are representing a plant, we don't write it as particular phylum, we write it as division. Kingdom is Plantae. So this is a taxonomic hierarchy of wheat. So the 4 things what I discussed, that is taxonomic hierarchy of man, mango, housefly and wheat. All the 4 are very important examination point of view. Anyone is usually asked for 3 marks. Students, next topic which I'll be discussing is taxonomic aids. Now taxonomic aids are different tools which are very helpful for a person or people who are into taxonomic studies. Taxonomy, as you know, is a study of identification, naming and classification of organisms. Taxonomic aids are different tools which can be used by students, researchers to carry out taxonomic studies. Let us see which are the different taxonomic aids. Now first of all, as I told, taxonomic studies of different species of plants, animals and other organisms require correct classification and identification so that the study becomes easier. So different taxonomic aids are herbarium, botanical garden, museum, zoological parks. Students, on the screen what is visible is, you can see a colorful set of flowers as well as leaves. So why have I focused this on the screen? Now this is telling us about a taxonomic aid known as herbarium. Now this is not the herbarium, but what is done in a herbarium is one can collect different parts of a plant like a stem or the stem having the flowers. It can be dried. It can later be stored on sheets known as herbarium sheets. Now herbarium is a very important taxonomic aid. Let us discuss about this. Now in a herbarium, what is done is, as I told, a person who is very much interested in botany can collect different plant species. A portion of that is dried. It is then pressed on sheets known as herbarium sheets. So once the herbarium sheet with the plant is ready, what can be done is a label is represented in one corner of the sheet. The label can have name of the plant, the common name, the scientific name, the place of collection, date of collection and the name of the collector. So what is the need of doing this, students? I'm sure you might have guessed. So what can be done is several such sheets can be prepared. It is then arranged systematically according to universal rules of nomenclature or a set of rules given, and it can be stacked in different units or something like cupboards, and that entire area what is formed is known as a herbarium. So people who are interested in studying botany, knowing about plants, can visit a place or a storehouse known as herbarium and can get all the necessary information of that particular plant species. So how to define herbarium? Herbarium is a storehouse of collected plant specimens which are dried, pressed and preserved on herbarium sheets. Examination point of view, very important for the exam. What is a herbarium can be asked for 1 mark, or write a note on herbarium can be asked for 2 marks. This is one of the most important taxonomic aid. So in this image you can see a number of herbarium sheets of different plant species. So this image also shows very beautiful herbarium sheets having different plant species, and some have been nicely arranged for display. So here, as you can see, a number of herbarium sheets have been stacked up, and the way to stack it up also there is a set of rules. So this image also shows how the herbarium sheets are being prepared. So in this image you can see a cupboard kind of thing where different herbarium sheets have been piled up. It's systematically arranged. So a person visiting a herbarium can look into the key what is given and can take the particular file of that particular family or the plant. So this is a very huge herbarium, a very large place wherein many people are involved. They have also stored different plant parts. Dry parts of the plants have been stored for future reference, and all these units are different sets wherein a number of herbarium sheets have been stored. So that was about one of the taxonomic aid, that is herbarium. Let us move on to the next one. So by this image, I'm sure all of you might have guessed The next taxonomic aid which I'm talking about is botanical gardens. I'm sure everyone have visited a botanical garden either near to your locality or a far off distant place. So botanical gardens are very beautiful places, not just for relaxation, but to explore nature. A person who is very much interested in botany or nature can visit areas known as botanical garden. So what information are we getting if we visit a botanical garden, and how can we refer it as a taxonomic aid? A person interested in botany related to plants can visit a botanical garden and he or she can get a very nice view of the plants. Ecologically important plants can be found, the plants with medicinal value can be grown, and beautiful plants with beautiful flowering plants are also displayed. So these are also areas where plants are conserved. So we are trying to protect nature, we are trying to conserve our biodiversity. So with reference to taxonomic aid, what use is person who is interested in nature or botany can visit botanical gardens and do research or collect information. So this is also a very beautiful image of a botanical garden. Okay students, next important taxonomic tool or taxonomic aid is zoological parks. I'm sure you have guessed it by the image what has been displayed. This image is showing a portion of zoological parks. In simple, we call zoological parks as zoos. So zoos are one of the favorite spots for children, and I'm sure even adults would like to visit zoological parks or zoos because it is a time for relaxation with family. It is a time to explore nature as well as see the wild animals live in front of us. Definitely we feel happy looking at the different wild animals, birds, snakes and all different creatures which have been kept here, which are protected in areas which are known as zoological parks. So what is the need of creating zoological parks? The species or animals which are in danger, which are in a range of becoming extinct or their number has decreased, people will capture the animals from the wild and they are given protection in areas known as zoological parks. So how can I call it as a taxonomic aid? A zoologist, a person who is interested in zoology, a person who is doing research with respect to animals can visit zoological parks and gather the necessary information from a zoological park. What kind of information? Study of different animals, what kind of food they eat, what kind of behavior they exhibit, how one animal is interacting with the other animal in areas is understood if a person who is doing research with respect to zoology comes and visits an area known as zoological parks. So this is also a portion of the zoological park wherein animals have been captured. So here you can see different cages have been constructed. Cages usually are constructed for birds or smaller animals. And the larger animals need a lot of space for them to feel as if they are in their natural habitat. A lot of space is necessary for movement of different animals. So that was about a concept known as zoological parks as taxonomic aid. The next important taxonomic aid which we need to discuss is museums. So here I am referring to biological museum. What is there in a biological museum? Different kinds of specimens. So in a museum, we find plant specimens as well as animal specimens. The first taxonomic aid which I told was herbarium. In a herbarium, we find only plant specimens. Whereas in a museum, you will find both plant specimens as well as animal specimens, isn't it? I'm sure most of you have visited a biological museum. So here on the screen, a portion of a biological museum has been represented. Different specimens have been preserved. They are stored within particular units. So on the screen, you can see a number of plant specimens have been stored. So the specimens are stored within containers or jars of different sizes. And they make use of a solution which is known as formalin, which sees that the material what is stored within it doesn't get degraded for a number of months or even years. So here you can see animal specimens which are stored within containers. Here there is a huge collection of different specimens. Most of them are animal specimens. So in a museum, we not only find stored plants or animal specimens, we also find skeleton of different animals. Skeletons of extinct animals or skeleton of different remains of animals can be preserved, so that people who visit a museum can know about the internal structure of an animal. The anatomical study can be revealed. So that was about a concept known as museum as a taxonomic aid. So examination point of view, herbarium, then museum, botanical gardens, zoological parks. These are the most important taxonomic aids. So one more taxonomic aid which you need to know is flora. What is the meaning of flora? Flora is a taxonomic aid which contains or which has a maintenance of account of the exact habitat. That is, habitat means place where an organism lives or place where a plant is found, and distribution of plant species present in a particular area. So account of details regarding the distribution of particular plant species is called flora. So you may get this as a 1-mark question. What is flora? Or what is the importance of flora as a taxonomic aid? Other than this, there is something known as manuals. Manuals are a particular taxonomic aid which can be referred for identification purpose. Whenever taxonomic studies are done, one of the important steps is identifying the plant or an animal, isn't it? So what can be referred? One can refer a taxonomic aid known as manual. Identification of names of species found in an area can be got. So other than the 4 which I just told previously, that is zoos, botanical gardens, museum and herbarium, flora is also a taxonomic aid. Manual is also a taxonomic aid. Examination point of view, this is very important, students. Please make a note of it. Monograph is a detailed study of a certain organism or a taxonomic group. That is, if a person is studying a particular category, a single category. Maybe study is going on about the species, or study is going on with reference to genus. One single category is studied. That concept or that taxonomic aid is called monograph. Study of a single taxon. What is the meaning of taxon? Taxon is each unit of taxonomic hierarchy. Taxon is each or single unit of taxonomic hierarchy. This can be an important 1-mark question. Make a note of this. What is taxon? Taxon is also known as rank. Taxon is otherwise known as rank. Another important taxonomic aid is called a key. Examination point of view, it's very important. What is a key? Write the importance of key as a taxonomic aid. So in this image or on the screen, what is represented is, now if an organism has been spotted, for example a bird is spotted by a person, that person wants to identify. Person is very curious to know which particular bird it is. So one of the sources is, he or she can refer to a taxonomic aid which is called a key. So in a key, there are different options given, and each option will help in better identification of that particular species or an organism. Simple example is given here. One can check whether the organism has wings or does not have wings. Very simple. The ones which have wings are definitely the birds, or it can be certain insects also, but here we are telling one of the guesses, it can be a bird. So the person can go one step ahead. The color of the wing can be noted. The wing is colorful, wing is black. Later, the pattern of the wings can be spotted, or it can be known. Wing is spotted, wing has a bold color. So there are different keys for different particular characters. Whatever characters are given, they are given usually as a pair. A pair of contrasting characters present in a key is called couplet. Once again I repeat, a pair of contrasting characters, a pair of characters present in a key is called couplet. Two statements together, we call it as couplet. a single sentence, a single statement in a couplet is called a lead. So these two are very important for your exam, students. For definition, what is a couplet? 1 mark. What is a lead? Or write the difference between couplet and lead. The entire concept of key can be expected for 3 marks. Write a note on key as a taxonomic aid. In this particular image, one more taxonomic key has been represented. There are different taxonomic keys for different organisms. As I said, different characters are represented. Based on the characters, the person will have an easy approach to identify the plant or identify the animal. Dear students, in this particular session, I have highlighted on important topics. Let me just briefly tell what has been discussed. Taxonomic hierarchy. It is a particular sequential arrangement of different categories in a particular order. Then I told different examples of taxonomic hierarchies. Examination point of view, man, housefly, mango and wheat. Any one you can expect for the examination. Then I discussed what is the meaning of taxonomic aid, different examples of taxonomic aids, and how it is useful in biology, how it is useful for a student, how it is useful for a person who is into research. The ones which I discussed, one taxonomic aid was herbarium, then zoological parks, botanical gardens, museums. Apart from that, flora, manual and monograph. These are different taxonomic aids. So this was about today's session, in which I have completed a chapter, that is Living World. Living World I have taken up in 2 sessions. In the first session, you will get a glimpse of the first part of the chapter. In today's session, there is a glimpse given of the second part of the chapter, that is Living World. Dear students, I hope you have understood all the topics which I have discussed in today's session. So I will meet you in a different session with a different topic. Thank you, dear students.